everybody, it's Doug here, Doug Mystic Guy on Board Game Geek, bringing you something a little new today. Everybody who plays lots of board games probably knows about deck building games like Dominion or Marvel Legendary, or which I did a video on a while back, and games like that. I'm sure you've all played them, or at least know of them. Well, this one's a little different. This is a deck building game. There's no question about it. I would liken Dark Gothic, a new deck building game by Flying Frog Productions, to be a marriage between probably Ascension and a touch of Evil. The gameplay reminds me more of Ascension than some of the other deck building games. So anyway, what I thought I'd do is I'd show you a couple of rounds of a two-player game just to give you an idea of what the game is like. And the first thing we'll do is talk about how we set the game up. So let me do that. I'm going to get the box open and I'll come back to show you the setup. So like all deck building games, the game of course comes with lots of cards. The rules are pretty simple. They're just a few pages, nothing crazy. Gives you some good illustrations. Table setup, which we'll do in the video, and some good explanations of stats and monsters. You can see that some of the characters are even the same characters that, well, they are the same characters, a lot of same art even, as from A Touch of Evil. Now, when I first saw that, I was like, oh, they're cheesing out, they didn't do new art, but I do see some new art in the game, and the art that they use is appropriate to the card, etc. So, you know, not so bad. I didn't get too concerned about that. But the first thing we're going to do is set up our character, or get our characters out. Now, the characters are, again, they're similar to the ones, like, let's find one, yeah. Brother Matthias, he's from, I think he's from Something Wicked, the second, or the first expansion of A Touch of Evil. And if you look at his card, you can see some stats here. Those stats are, this is his starting deck. And you're going to draw the start cards, and they're all labeled with starts. We're going to draw one for cunning, one for combat, 2 for cunning, 8 for spirit, and 1 for honor for his character. And he has a special ability of faith. It says you may use the blue icons, the spirit icons, as combat when attacking a minion or a villain. That's his ability. I think this character, Adriana, is from one of the expansion packs. I don't see any characters. The only one I didn't recognize right off the bat was this one. But I do believe she's from one of the packs. I just don't remember which one. Anyway, she's the cutthroat smuggler. She's got, you can see her starting deck is combat 5, cunning 4, spirit 3, and 0 honor. She's got no honor, but she does have her smuggler's network, so her hand size can be larger, of 7, and she's got the ability of tunnels. All locations cost her 1 generic honor, or basically the whites are generic. Wild card. They're like a wild card. Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to. Anyway, here's another one, Harlow Morgan, the man of science. Similar stats. He's got the ability of invention. We're just going to draw, I think we're going to pick 2 of them. Maybe like Carl, because we know him from the base game. And perhaps, I don't know, we'll see. I'll pick 2 of them. We'll put them on the table. We'll start to build their deck. I'll show you how that goes. And I'll show you how the basic setup goes as we continue on. So let's get this out on the table now. Oh, by the way, these are also, before we get to that, we'll take a look at these are the monsters. Now we're going to start with, see these 3. This is a monster that's always available to attack. Kind of reminds me of the basic guy in Ascension. But these are the starting monsters: the Farian Bog Fiend, the Cursed Werewolf, and the Creeping Terror. We're going to be fighting one of the 3 from each of these groups. There's group 1. That means they're the easiest to beat. Once we've defeated one of those, we'll go on to group 2, and then on to group 3, where we're going to be, we'll have to go after a vampire, or the Spectral Horseman, or the Savage Werewolf. Now, when you're looking at the villain cards, and you're going to be playing one against each of them, they do definitely appear to scale to be much tougher. This is kind of a learning session for both of us. I've read the rules and I kind of tinkered around with it, but I wanted to show you, I like to show you what it's like when someone's just starting to learn, what the curves are, what things come up. When I say curves, I mean learning curves. So I don't think this is has a high learning curve, especially if you have played both A Touch of Evil and the other Flying Frog games, or played Ascension or other deck builders. It shouldn't be too hard. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get out this big giant stack of these are the honor cards first, But and honor is a wild card buy. You can use that as any color, any of the colored things. And these are the start cards. So we're going to get 2 characters out. We're going to build their start deck, and I'll show you what that's like. And then we'll continue on to build the rest of the game table for the game. So the first thing you do in the game is you create this big, massive deck. And it includes in it all a shuffled, all of the cards that are, like, for instance, this is a location card, but it has all of the gear, ally, event, location, and minion cards, except for the common minion, which I showed you, which was that skeleton, the undead guy, which we will get out for this playthrough. This fellow here, he's the only one that doesn't get shuffled in the deck because he's always available, the Hungry Dead. He's always available to fight if you have no one else to fight on your turn, but you have points to fight with. So basically this is going to be the big giant stack of cards that we use to play the game. You can see there's tons of stuff. There's some events in there. There's all kinds of neat things going on. And that is going to make up our stack. That is the first thing that we do. So that stack has been created and shuffled, and it will be on the table. Now, the next thing we needed to do was build our 2 heroes decks, which we have here. So as you can see, looking at Carl, now both of the heroes I picked Carl and Katarina, because I like them from the game. They're fun to play in A Touch of Evil as well. But you can see that they don't have a lot of spirit, but this is their starting deck. So we would shuffle up that starting deck, built again based off of these stats here. So Carl starts with 7 start cards, Strength of Combat. Those are his main. That's his main ability, is Strength. He also has a couple of Cunning cards. You can see those, Strength of Cunning. Again, they're worth 1 green, which is Cunning. And then he only's got 1 spirit, but he also has an Honor. And then for Katarina, strangely enough, even though she is an outlaw highwayman, she's honorable highwayman and highway person, and she's got 2 honor cards. And you can see that the honor card has a secondary ability. It can be used as 1 point of any color, but it also allows you to draw another card. So, and again, she's got 4 strength. She's got a good mix of strength and cunning. Like I said, both these guys, the one thing that they don't have is a ton of spirit, which we'll see how that affects us in the game. I don't know how badly that will impact us. But the next thing we do after that, after we pick our players and create the deck, we're going to take the large villain cards and we're going to arrange them, starting with the first 3. So we're going to randomly pick, and I'm not going to know which ones, so I'm going to put them back in the box. But these are the 3. I believe there are only 3 ones, right? Yeah, 3 first cards: the bog fiend, the cursed werewolf, and the creeping terror. We're just going to shuffle them up. Those ones are going to. The one we pick is going to go on top. So we're going to put that right there. Put the other 2 back in the box, and then we have to pick our level 2s. I should probably have done this in the other direction, but I wanted to show them. So this is the Greystone Gargoyle, the Dreaded Scarecrow, and the Banshee of Langmire. So we're going to shuffle those up, and we're going to put one of those beneath the 1 card. Because remember, they go in order 1, 2, 3 from weakest to toughest. So there we have that. And last but not least, we're going to pick our level 3 villain: Vampire, Spectral Horseman, or the Savage Werewolf. And we're going to shuffle those up. Boom, 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 boom. I'm going to put that on the bottom there. Actually, on the bottom, and that will go like this. So our top villain is going to be the level 1 guy. And we're just going to put that there for now. That's the next part of the setup. So after that, we're going to shuffle the Shocking Discoveries deck. Now, what that is during the game play, you're going to get these cards that are called Dark Secrets, and these basically go on the side of the board. They're going to end up filtering into your hand. It says, if this card is in your hand during your turn, it must be played before any other card. And you destroy this card, meaning it goes out of your, not only out of your hand, but out of the game. And you get to draw a Shocking Discovery card. If you've played, how do I explain this? If you have played A Touch of Evil, you remember that the town elders that had secrets and things that were not cool about them. Well, a lot of these, oops, there's a location card got mixed in there. Couple of them. Yep, I got a couple of cards mixed up in there, but you'll get the idea. I'll shuffle these into. I guess when I transported them, they got mixed up in there a little bit. Anyway, you get the idea behind them. There are several of these. They are going to do things like this one says, little secrets. Discard any cards from your hand that have an investigation value of 2 or more. Investigation value it usually comes on other things, like, let's say, like for example, most of the start cards will have zeros, but you see that this one has an investigation value of 3. This is the murder event card. So that's those. So we're going to shuffle these dark secrets up, and we're going to place them out as well. Okay, so now that we've got our shocking discoveries and secret decks set up, now we're going to create we're going to take these training cards. Now, these cards are enhanced versions of the start cards. This is Tactical Strike. It's worth 2. And we're going to take all of those, and we're going to create just basically a spread of these available ones in a line right next to these cards here. So let me kind of back up a little bit. I'm going to kind of pan out to the table and kind of show you how this is going to look. Well, I'm not going to kind of show you. I'm going to show you. And I'll lay those out, and we'll be right back. Okay, so this is basically the starting setup for this area of the board. So you have your shocking discoveries, your secrets, and then you have these 3 training decks that give you some generic cards. And basically, these, if they're in your hand, these give you a 2 to your strength rating to spend. And this is the cost of buying the card, which is 3 of any color, so you can mix and match and buy those. Makes them convenient to buy. Obviously, Tactical Strike is a combat, a red combat skill. This one, Brilliant Deduction, is a cunning skill, training skill, and this one, Intuitive Hunch, is a spirit training skill. And those are the 3 basic cards that you can have. We have our first villain, and that's this guy here. You can see that killing him is worth 6 investigation points, which are basically victory points. He's got a base stat of Combat 5, Spirit 2, and Cunning 1. He is a demon villain, okay? And it says his global ability, he's got one, that means it affects everything all the time. Anytime an ally enters the center line, and I'll explain what the center line is, you roll the omen die. On a roll of 1, or a roll of the skull, it's destroyed. And then to fight him, you may acquire any one ally from the crypt for free. That's if you fight and defeat him. You remember that kind of term, similar to Legendary, the fight effect when you battle them. And so that's how that line looks. Now we're going to create the second part of the game line. And but before we do that, I just wanted to sneak something in here. This, my friends, The Awakened, woohoo, it looks like a book, right? It is a book, but here's what's cool. This is a fantasy anthology. It was created by a gentleman named Hal Greenberg and published by Dark Quest Books. And I just wanted to show you very quickly. I won't take a long detour here, but page 135 in this anthology series is me. I wrote in this book. I just got my author copies, contributor copies. Got hardbound and a couple paperbacks. It can be got at Amazon if you're interested. It's actually quite good. It's got very good ratings. And I say actually, I'm not a bad writer, but there are some other writers that you might recognize that wrote along with me in this series. And just to give you an idea, in case you're interested in fantasy type stuff, some names you may recognize mainly from like Dungeons and Dragons. Matt Forbeck did the introduction, the foreword, and then you got Kevin Culp, who you may know. A lot of people from the Darren Drader, Steve Creech, Clinton Boomer, all from the role-playing world, basically, and also writers. And then down there, A Girl and Her Scaly Bits by Ed Greenwood. So you can see we got quite a few people that you might recognize their names in this book. It's a good book. Anyway, that's my commercial. All said and done. I'm going to move on to continuing our setup. So when we have our main deck, we're going to create what's called a center line. And that line is going to have 6 cards in it. So first off, we're going to put our Hungry Dead over here. We can always fight the Hungry Dead. And then we're going to take our big giant deck of cards here. I'm going to move the camera down just a little bit, and we're going to show you how to do that. So I have this big deck of cards. So I'm going to turn over 6 cards from the deck here. 1, 2. You can see that we got an event and a minion. 3, 4, 5, and I got to move some stuff down, but 6. I didn't realize this was going to take up so much space. And then I'll just going to pause right there. I'll get everything a little more set up, and I'll come back. Okay, so once you've made up your starting hand, those start cards basically go back in the box. They have no other effect than to be a part of the starting hand that you have, And I haven't, like I said, this is kind of a learning experience for us, and even though I've tinkered around with it to understand how it plays, um, it it basically is, there's some unknowns to me in here too, like in most deck building games, are you able to call some of your starting cards because they're not as effective, things like that. This is also the fate die that they mentioned in there. You see it's got a skull where the 6 belongs, and sometimes when you roll that skull, bad things will happen. So basically I have Carl here with his soldier ability. You gain 1 extra combat ability for free, that's his skill, and in his deck, and we're going to put his draw deck right here. We'll put his hand underneath, and we're going to do the same thing with Katarina. And I'll probably kind of pan back and forth because the space actually does take up a little more room than I thought. This is her deck. I do need to shuffle them up. I'm going to do the same thing with her. She can have her draw deck on one side, her discards on the other, and her hand right beneath her character card. So panning over a little bit, right here is going to be the crypt, which basically equates to all the discards that go in here. And over here with the monster, this is going to be called the shadow. And as things end up in the shadow, if any time more than 10 cards are in the shadow, we lose the game. That's one of the lose conditions. So yeah, the shadow is a bad thing. So again, now if you've played other deck building games, you're going to understand how this works. But that is one of the ways you end your game. So now this is not, there is a co-op, completely co-op version of the game, like all Flying Frog games, they usually do that, which I think is very cool, because I almost never play A Touch of Evil as anything other than a co-op game. But in this game, it is competitive by nature. I can see playing the co-op game, but to me it seems like playing a deck builder, you're playing to win, and that's the way it goes. Anyway, we're going to get started. So I am going to shuffle up the cards, and then we're going to play a few rounds. I'm going to see if I can play a full game. I don't think so, but we'll try and see how it goes. I don't know how long the game lasts. And again, we're going to have our 2 characters. Okay, normally you roll the omen die to see who goes first, but I'm just going to have Katarina Clark go first, and then Carl go second, just because it'll be easier that way to film. So, first thing we're going to do here is we're going to take her deck. I've shuffled it up. Give it another little bit of a shuffle. We're going to put her hand out beneath her cards. There's going to be 6 cards in your hand, so she's going to start with, I figure she's probably going to start with a couple of strength cards. That's 3, 4, 5, and 6. So this is her starting hand. She's got, I'm just going to organize them in a way that you can see them. She's got 2 Strength of Spirits, she got basically 2 of each, which is really interesting. Now let's go see, now we go to the center line to see if she can do anything. And like a deck builder game, she can spend all of her points on whatever she can afford to buy. Now she can attack a minion, she can take a location, and this may shift where I put the cards because locations they remain in play for your character. We have to work that out as we go. But anyway, you can take items, all kinds of stuff. And so the only thing that doesn't go, the one thing is a little different in this than other deck buildings, is some of the deck building games is some of these cards go out and play and stay there in front of you and give you bonuses. Mainly locations, it appears. So we're going to go to the table, and there's minions and stuff she can fight, and we're going to see what we can do. So what can Katarina do with all of her points? Well, you can see here that there's a cost here associated with these things. So like she could defeat, I'll give you an example, she could defeat this ghost in the fog. The ghost it remains in play, and then you have this ability. It says once per turn roll the omen die. On a roll of a skull you gain an extra spirit. So it can become an ally, a kind of an ally of yours, and that costs 2 spirit. I'll give you an example. So we have a minion on the board. You can defeat that, and again these things all, except for ones that say remain in play, all go in your hand, even the minions. You can defeat this one. It costs you 3 cunning to defeat the Sandmen, but you get them, and then later on when you draw them, they are equal to 1 honor point, which is the wild card point. That's not a bad one, but she doesn't have 3. Obviously, she's only got 2, so she can't get this abandoned keep, for example. She can't do finding the lair; it's too expensive, and she can't defeat the ghost soldiers. So I think what we will do is we're going to remember she can spend all of her points as well, and we also have the generic cards which cost 3 of any color. But I do think she's going to buy this gear, the old axe, because she can afford to do that with 1 and 1. It's pretty cool. Well, you know, yeah, she'll do that. So this old axe gives her a 1 combat, or it can be used as one of the spirit points. And then, so that was basically cost one of each of her cards. Now she's got a bunch. She's got basically 4 more, so she's going to take 3 of them. And I think she'll buy. Let's see. She'll buy a training card. She's pretty good on strength, but I think she's going to. Well, you know, our other guy. I think she's going to focus on cunning a little bit more. So we're going to also spend the other 3 points. She'll have 1 left over she won't be able to use. One more point here. Oh, wait, when we deplete the deck, we do draw another one. This is an ally, so remember, if we purchase this ally, we do have this effect to see if the creeping terror kills the ally. But here's the other card she got for her hand, and that basically marks her whole turn. Those go in her discard pile along with the current hand that she had, just like in any deck building game. So there's her discards. And then we're going to come back over here and draw up her next hand of 6 cards, which should be everything. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if I'm not mistaken, she won't have 2 of everything because she didn't have that. But both her honor points are in here, so she's going to have a pretty good hand next turn to do. And now we're going to move on to Carl. Okay, let's draw Carl's hand. Now remember his special ability. I didn't go over Katarina's special ability, but stealth. It says anytime you roll an omen die, you may choose to re-roll it. But you have to accept the next result. With Carl, he's just got the simple ability that he gains an additional combat point each turn. So here's his 6 cards. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that will be his starting hand. Let's see what he got. So in his starting hand, he got 1, 2, 3, 4 strength of 5 strength of combat, and 1 honor. I wonder what he can do with that. That's going to be an interesting thing. The creatures that are out in the center line really don't have much to do with. Oh man, he can't buy anything there, but he can certainly spend a lot on. Let's see what happens when you defeat the basic minions. So with his cards, he just didn't luck out. He got too many of his combat cards in this hand, and so if you fight this one, it says you may destroy a card you have played this turn, or a card from the center line. So this allows you to destroy some of your basic abilities. We're not going to do this yet, obviously, and he needs 1 of each, so he can't even do that. But what we are going to do is start to get some other stuff for his hand, I think. Is there anything that just requires generic? No. Okay, so we're going to take 3 of his strength cards, and we're going to acquire, let's see, we'll require an intuitive hunch, which will go in his discards. And we're going to take his next 3 cards. Also, we're going to play his, well, let's play his honor card first before we buy that and see what we get, because that's going to allow us to draw it well. Okay, so we played his honor card, and he got 3, so we're going to have 3 more, and that's really going to be all we can do. So with 3 more, I think we'll buy, let's get him another training card, intuitive hunch, and put that in his deck. Again, you know, these first couple rounds in any deck building is kind of just beefing yourself up. So that is going to end his first set of hands. Now we're going to go back to Katarina. He didn't buy anything from the center line, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Okay, so with Katarina, again here, we have, she's got a couple of combat points, 2 honor, so she can do something pretty good here. She doesn't have 2 spirit, though, does she? She needs 2 cunning. Let's see, she has 2 cunning and 2 honor. So I think I'm going to show you what I think we're going to do something cool here with her. That gives her 2 cards that won't be much use after that. But this character, remember, allies are awesome. This character, the Dr. Manning, Elder of Shadowbrook, says he's a town elder ally. Says when you acquire this card, you also take a dark secret. That's not too good. But you roll the omen die. You may take a number of random cards from your discard pile into your hand equal to the roll. That's what happens when you play him as a character. So, but to take him, he's going to cost us 2 spirit, 2 cunning. We do have the cunning. We don't have the spirit, so we have to use our honor cards. So we could do that, and that would work out well. I was thinking about finding the layer card, but again, she's short 1 card on that. And the other ones are just simply too expensive for her. Well, she could do the Sandman one and get him, which gives her a generic No, I think she's going to take this guy, even though it'll spice up the game. So a little bit. So we're going to take Dr. Manning. That goes in her discard pile, along with a Dark Secret card, and that's how these get into your hand. So that goes into her discard pile, along with the cards that she spent on this one, which are the 2 Cunning and the 2 Honor. And I'm going to replace something in the middle immediately, because maybe she... Oh, man. She can't get the Shadowbrook Militia out of there, but we are going to have to just burn these. There's really nothing she can do with them. The generic cards cost 3, so she's going to put that up there. That is going to basically mean that she's out of cards, so we're going to shuffle her newly created deck and give her 6 cards. Okay, so one of the reasons I like Dr. Manning is with the rolling of the die is her special ability to reroll helps her too, so it kind of gives her extra benefit. Anyway, I'm drawing her 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and now we have her deck ready to go. She's got a Strength of Spirit basic card, a Cunning basic card. She got her Dark Secret, which means she's going to play it this turn, and nothing but her other basic cards. So none of her special cards came out except for the bad one. So on her turn, as you read this, the Dark Secret card, it says, if this card is in your hand, you turn it up and play it before any other card. Destroy this card and draw a Shocking Discovery. So this card immediately goes into the crypt, which is next to the big pile, and then we draw a Dark Secret. Now, obviously, this is a competitive game, so no one would know what the Dark Secret is, but here's what it says. All heroes must discard from play any cards they have that are listed. So this says, and this remains in play. Oh, listed as remains in play. So, yeah, so she made a Shocking Discovery, and that comes out, and that Shocking Discovery means that if anybody had any remains in play cards listed in action in their play area, then they would be discarded this turn, which means... Yeah, and discarded just means it goes in your discard pile, so you could redraw it. You don't actually lose it. I wanted to look and see in the rules if we keep that or we get rid of it. I hope to God we get rid of it. Well, let's take a look. So I forgot something already. This guy has that global effect when anytime an ally enters the center. We have to roll a Omen die if it's a 1, or the skull, which is 6 actually, we have to destroy it. So remember, she did get Dr. Manning, so I have to roll for him. And of course, her first roll was a skull, so she's going to re-roll it because it's her ability. And she got a 2, so she does not have to lose Dr. Manning. I didn't think she would, but we had to roll it anyway. Now, again, this card does not get destroyed. She has to destroy it, the Dark Storm, so it's going to go in her discard pile. And that means she has that really unpleasant card in there for a while. Okay. Well, that's the way it goes. We'll move on to the rest of her turn. So this card does not say it goes out of your hand, so I think it gets to stay there. That makes characters that bring in Dark Secrets a little more painful. This will come back and get rid of people's stuff as it goes. We have to try and find a way to destroy that card. One way we could destroy it is actually by fighting the Hungry Dead. It says common minion. Their fight effect, meaning if we defeat them, we get this effect. You may destroy a card you have played this turn on or a card in the center line. So, well, we did draw it. It didn't have any effect. It's in our discard pile. But we could also attempt to destroy it. Actually, so we can't do it now. It is in her discard pile. Now, normally, in this, again, being competitive, your discard pile would be face down too. But I'm leaving it face up. So we do have some other cards for her. We got 1 of each. Yeah, 2 Spirit, 1 Fight, 1 Cunning card. I don't see that she can do... Well, yeah, she can still go for the... She got 2 Spirit. So I think with her 2 Spirit, here's what we're going to do. So she's going to play these 2 cards, and you can't... I think you can see it on the center line. You can. She's going to take the Ghosts in the Fog minion and kill it. She's defeating the Ghost in the Fog using her 2 Spirit. That minion is going to remain in play. It says once per turn, roll the Omen die. On a roll of skull, you gain 1 extra spirit. So that goes in her play area. So we're going to have to do something a little different with her cards. That's going to be in her play area, and she still has now 3 cards left over. I think what she's going to do, since she's kind of getting some bonuses with Cunning and Spirit, we also need to place another card out into the center line immediately. Is a flintlock pistol. It requires 2 combat and is a 1/1. That's pretty good. Okay, she's going to then use 3 cards to purchase a. Let's go for a spirit. Let's round her out a little bit. Another spirit card. So that 2 goes in her discard pile along with everything else. And by the way, this 2 goes in her discard pile. All of that. She will get to put that in play next time she draws it. So then we're going to draw 6 cards for her. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I'm getting this right. I got to keep going back to the rules once in a while, but we're learning together. So her hand for next turn will be 1 combat, an honor, a cunning, her old axe, which gives her one or the other. That gives her some flexibility, another honor, and another combat. Not a bad hand for her for next turn. Going to get to do something with that. Now let's move on to Carl. So this is basically Carl's second turn. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's only got 5 cards, so I am going to have to shuffle his deck, because remember he got to draw an extra card last turn. So I'm going to shuffle up for him and draw 1 more card for his hand, and we'll see what that looks like. Hopefully he'll get the flintlock pistol. That would be something he would like. And something he should be able to get because it only requires 2 combat. Okay, well, he definitely is going to get that. So he's got, interestingly enough, he's got 3 combat and 2 strength of combat and 3 strength of cunning. So what can he do with those? Let's see. So he's basically got 4 because of this. 4 strength of combat. But those aren't really helpful. Well, hey, I know what he's going to do. So this is a good play for him. So this abandoned keep here in the center line, it costs 3 combat and 3 cunning. So let's see if he's got that. Well, he's got 2 cunning, but remember he gets an extra 1 because he's a soldier. So that's 3, and then he's got 3 strength using his special ability, which is +1 for his strength, and he's got 3 cunning cards. So 3 strength of cunning, which give him 3 points. So 3, you can see it requires 3 combat, 3 cunning. So he gets that, and when he draws it again, he can put this out, and it will remain in play. For now, it goes in his discard pile, and this card will just be wasted in his discard pile, and that will be his entire turn. So now we've got to just draw up another hand of cards, or hand for him. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Let's see what he's got for his next turn. He's got a strength of combat, intuitive hunch, another honor. That's great. The honor ones are good because they allow you to draw cards. Intuitive hunch, strength. So he's got mainly strength again, but he does have some other things. That's good. So he'll have a good next turn as well. Okay, let's go back to Katarina. As we go back to Katarina, we did draw a really nasty replacement card. It has a ability called Strike, and I think the strike effects, cards that have the word strike are made against all other players. So this is when you play it. So to defeat him, you need to do 6. You need 6 strength, 6 combat, 1 spirit, and 1 cunning. But then you get to take him into your hand. He's got the strike ability, which is draw 1 random card from each other's hero's discard pile. You may play all of those cards this turn, then return them to their owner. That is interesting. That's an interesting mechanic I don't see often, is taking cards from other players, but this is very competitive, and I like that fact because one of the things that I don't like about some of the deck building games, primarily Dominion, is in Dominion most of the time there are some cards that affect other players, but most of the time you're just kind of playing on your own and building your own stuff. Though you do have some screw you cards in there like this one, but this one actually allows you to use those cards and give them back. Interesting. Okay, anyway, we're on to Katarina's turn. Okay, so here is her hand. She's got an honor, her old axe, which gives her either a spirit or a combat. She's got another combat, another honor. So here's how we're going to play this first. We're going to start by playing an honor card because that allows her to draw another card, and it is one of her better training cards. Okay, so then we know we're going to play and use an honor point there. We're going to play her second honor card, which allows her to draw a card as well, and that is another cunning. So we are full of cunning this turn. And I think with that much cunning, she can definitely use, well, she can do a bunch of things here. Let's see. Can she do something really useful? I'm sure she can. So yeah, so she's got 2 honor on the board right now. To She can't kill the Ghastly Stalker yet, but what she can do is defeat the Ghost Soldiers. They have a fight effect. Let me show you those. They require 4 spirit. Now she's already got 2 on the board. And wait, can she do that? She can only get 1. Shoot, she can't fight them. She can only get 1 more spirit. So we're going to put them back. What can she fight? Well, let's see. She can spend 1 more cunning and take out the Sandman in the center row. Why don't we do that? Well, she could also, well, she didn't have it in play. So anyway, she's going to play 1 more cunning here, boom, along with the honor, and that will allow her to take out the Sandman. That goes in her discard pile, and we immediately replace that card with an armory. Wow. Okay, that's a pretty big location, but it does require 6 generic points. Let's see what she's got here. She needs 2 combat, which she has right here. Can she make up 6 more? 2, 3, 4. No, she can't. Oh well. But she does have 3 combat. What can she do with that? And she also has 3 cunning. So I think what she's going to do this turn is she will spend her 3 combat. She'll use this gear, the old axe, as a combat item, and she'll spend these 3 combat, discard those, and in doing that she will take another. I think she'll actually take a combat training card, which is 2. And then she also has 3 more points here with cunning. She'll spend those, and I think she'll take a like card. She doesn't have to. She could take any one of them because they don't require a color. But she'll take another cunning card. She can beef up in cunning pretty nasty. And that is going to be her. Look, she's got a big giant discard pile going on. We got to discard all of these as well. She got to draw extra cards that turn, so we're probably going to have to shuffle. We do. She's only got 2 cards, a starting card and her Dr. Manning card. So we're going to shuffle her remaining deck up, and we're going to draw her 4 more cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. What else did she get for her hand? She got 1 more honor card. Again, she got her Dr. Manning card, so she'll just be able to play that. She got her Sandman card in that hand. So she's got honor, another generic color, a cunning, a spirit, another cunning, and then the roll 1 omen die and take a number of random cards from your discard pile. Unfortunately, she didn't have a discard pile this turn because she emptied it out last turn and had to reshuffle, so we'll see how that hand is going to do for her for the next turn, but that ability from Dr. Manning is going to be wasted, unfortunately. Now we're going to move on to Carl. Okay, so here's what we have with Carl. He's got 2, a couple of combats. That's going to give him 3 combats, an honor, which could be anything, another combat, 4 and 4. So he's got 4 spirit and 4 combat. Well, with the spirit he can take out the ghostly soldiers, but for the first thing we're going to do is we're going to play his honor card down because that gives him an extra card, which is going to be another combat. We're at 5. Man, could he almost, if we use that honor, oh, he doesn't have, he'd have to use the honor. Man, it's so close. So remember, he does have this, so he's got 1 there, 2, 3, 4. What I'm trying to do is see if he can kill this guy, the Ghastly Stalker, 611. I don't know that he can because he would have to use the honor card he just played as the cunning stat because he does not have any other cunning in his card, but he does have in his hand, but he does have the spirit to do so. So he's got a strength of 1, 2, 3, 4, only 5. Bummer. He can't quite do that. But what he can do is, so the next thing he's going to do after playing his honor, let's see, yeah, he'll play 1 more strength with that honor card to pick up the flintlock pistol. That costs 2 strength, or 2 combat. And we're going to draw another card. It's another Sandman minion. And then we're going to take, let's see, he's got 4 spirit right here. And we can defeat the ghostly soldiers for 4 spirit. And it says as a fight you can destroy a card from your, it says destroy a card from your hand that you have played this turn. I don't know that he wants to do that. Well, yeah, we can get rid of one of his starting strength cards since we're replacing him with other stuff. So we're going to fight. Now, and later you get to draw a card. You may then destroy a card in your hand or discard pile. So this allows you to start calling your hand. So we're going to take that. We're going to fight them for the 4 spirit that we just played. And in doing so, we're going to destroy a card. So I'm going to destroy a Strength of Combat card, and that is going to go into the crypt. We have played these 2, and that leaves us with 2 strength that he can't really do anything with. Well, let's see. We've got to draw another card. So no, this Spectre requires 3 spirit. So yeah, that's all he's going to do this turn. So that's going to load up his discard pile. And then we're going to go back to, well, we first have to draw. So he's got 1 card left, which is another starting Strength of Combat card. So we're going to have to shuffle for him and redraw a hand. Okay, we need 5 more cards for Carl. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Boom. There's his deck. Here's his hand. He's got his, he got his flintlock pistol. That's pretty good. He also got another honor card. I like those. And he's in the, I don't know if that's him or not. Kind of looks like him. It's him in the picture. He's got his intuitive hunch, his other intuitive hunch again, and then 2 strength cards. So he's got a few things he could do. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to do one more round with him, and then we'll stop there. And I'll come back and continue the game. I think it's interesting to see how this rolls out a little bit more, but I don't want to make the video too much longer. So we're going to take one more turn with. Actually, why don't we do this? That's a good place to stop. So we're going to stop here. And I will keep the game out, and when we come back, we will start with Katarina Clark's turn, and see what more trouble we can get into. We're no closer to defeating the Creeping Terror, but there also aren't any cards in the shadow yet, so that's okay. My suspicion is those will pile up rather quickly as we go. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you next time. Again, this is Dark Gothic, the new deck building game by Flying Frog Productions. They make some of my favorite games, A Touch of Evil. In fact, you can usually see them on the shelf behind the table I have them on. Last Night on Earth is another one. Trying to think of, Conquest of Planet Earth is a great game. There's a bunch of great games. And the new one coming out, the Western Cthulhu one, which I kickstarted, will be coming out later this year. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you soon for the next segment of this game.